about data within this education and teacher salaries. But before I begin, I want to talk a little bit about what this program is. This is a Codat app. You can find data within to use for a statistics classroom, or you can make your own data and make it into a table, put your data in a table, and then you can graph it. So I think it's really cool and really helpful for students to be hands-on with this. I'm going to play around with it, and then I'm going to actually show you how you can actually find different data and why I think this is such a good website. So now we're going to look at this data that we have, which is the salaries of teachers within the different counties, or not counties, but south, west, east, northwest, within the different areas. So you have this map. And if we wanted to look at like one state, we could click North Carolina. It would bring North Carolina and all of the teacher salaries and everything. We're going to talk about the region. So we're going to click the region right here. So it is in 3 categories. You know that North Carolina is the south of the world. Now we're going to look at salary. We're going to place salary in this axis, which is really cool because I really like how hands-on this is, and we can actually look at the salaries. As you can see, south is a lower salary rate based on all of these right here. Midwest has a lower, but it's not high. You can actually use this to help you find the mean of each region. So you have south. The mean is about 50,000, and the west is about 53,000. Mean of the northeast is about 65, and mean of the southwest is about 51. You can also find the median, which is really cool. It automatically puts the median up there. You can look at the median through the different regions. You can look at the standard deviation, which I think is really important in statistics, that students understand standard deviation within. So you know that this is one standard deviation for the mean. So anything outside of the standard deviation is called an outlier. As you can see, these are the outliers of the South. So in District of Columbia, you can see that they are a huge outlier, and they make $73,000 per year. You can also put a box plot in. So here it would show you the upper and the lower. And then about your Q1, Q3, your mean in that little box. So you know your outliers with this box plot. You could see your outliers with standard deviation, but I wanted to put the box plot there for you to see. You can also click this lovely button that says Show Outliers. As you can see, there's not any outliers for West, Northwest, and Midwest. It's mainly South. So they have 4 outliers here, which is really helpful. Really easy to understand. So now, in this task, I want to talk about the South and East. Because of the weather and everything else, you would probably prefer to be in the South because of the warmer weather, but overall, would you teach in that area based off of the salary and the numbers? Alright, so you know that the South and the West tend to be the most warmer states, which it seems to be true, but they do not have a high salary for teachers, which I think is kind of sad, but there's different things to put into play, like districts and poverty and all that, but we're just going to look at the salaries and why would we want to teach in the South or the West, even though because of the weather it's warmer, or would I like to teach in the Northwest, Northeast, and Midwest, I'm sorry. So if you're looking at this data, you can tell this is us. So this is North Carolina. I highlighted us. Average salary in North Carolina is $44,000 per year. In the South, if you go up, you have 4 outliers. You have Delaware, which Delaware, as you can see in the map, is right there. Very small. Very, very small. Then you have this other outlier, it's Maryland. If you notice, Delaware and Maryland are very close together. So is District of Columbia. They're all really close together, and they have higher paying wages in the South. The lower level is Mississippi. Mississippi's all the way over there. If you were looking at the West, we have, I would consider, you can't consider these outliers because it is not more than 1 standard deviation away, so they're not considered outliers. But you have California and Alaska. Alaska's that big state up there. And then if you look, honestly, I would like to be in the Northeast. Their lowest paying teacher is $49,000, which, if we looked, where's North Carolina? North Carolina is below that. For me, money-wise, I probably want to be in the Northeast because you get paid more per year. So, now let's look at the Midwest. The lowest is South Dakota. They get paid the lowest. Definitely would not want to work in South Dakota. Their highest is 62, which is really good. That's Michigan. But as you can notice through the data, and states by themselves, you can notice that. Which one would you rather work for? If we had to pick a state that I'd rather work for, just a random state, I would want to be New York is here, District of Columbia. I would want to be in the middle. I would say Florida. I wouldn't want to be anywhere between that, if you're looking at the data. Now, if we're looking at the data, yes, New York gets paid more, but how much are you spending out of costs like gas, housing expenses, insurance, car? You're spending a lot more in New York, so you're going to get paid more. So I would probably like to be on the lower end of the spectrum, so I probably would stay in the South. Even though North Carolina only gets $44,000 per year, it's not too expensive to live in North Carolina. And as you can see in the data, it's probably easier with the data to work in the South because they're all closer together in same pay, other than those 4 outliers. You have a scattered distribution here. There's not really an even distribution. The West, you still have a little bit of normal distribution, but it's still scattered. And the Midwest is a normal distribution. But honestly, I wouldn't want to live in the Midwest. I'd probably stay in the South because it is warm. So before I end this lovely screencast, I would like to show you, let's move this one out of the way. Let's move him out of the way. And I would like to show you another thing you can do with CodeApp. You can actually take the number of teachers and the division. Or we can actually switch this around, it might be easier to understand. You can see the number of teachers you have. As you can see, the South has lower number of teachers, other than Texas. Texas has a lot of teachers, but it's all normally evenly distributed throughout. Then again, we can put all these lovely things up, show our outliers. We actually have outliers for Southwest and Midwest, which is another cool thing. So where would you want to work with? If you were in the Southwest, Northwest, Northeast, and Midwest, all these West and East, I get confused sometimes, where would you want to work? I'm going to leave you with that. Thank you so much for watching my screencast.